Hey, what's happening? Good one, SirJames coming at you guys with another video. In today's video, I'm here to give you guys an early access review of a game known as Fortnite. The only reason why this is known as an early access review is because the game is in early access, and the only way to participate is by getting something like the Founders Pack, for example. But do keep in mind that the game will become free to play sometime in 2018, and to pretty much give you the long story short, is the game is pretty much a base building tower defense style game, and overall, it's actually a lot of fun. Now, going over the visuals for the title is that the game has pretty much like a cartoonish art style to it, which definitely works out towards its advantage. And what's another nice aspect is the attention to detail depending on what areas of the maps you'll be visiting. So whether it be like a dense forest or industrial buildings or even locations where you have housing and stuff like that. And when you go into the houses, you see so much detail and set pieces, in which of course are completely destroyable to gather resources. But again, from the variety of different characters of the heroes that you get to play as, the art cards on the survivals, and of course the world map in general, just everything about it is really nice and pleasant, something in which I think a lot of people, especially if you like the cartoonish look, is something that you will appreciate. Now, talking about the gameplay is definitely one of its stronger suits for the game, because as I stated, this is pretty much a base building tower defense style game, and when you begin a match you may have a variety of different objective styles, such as finding survivors, finding specific type of loot, destroying enemy cabinets, or you may have other portions where you have to defend a certain point. And of course, other side objectives may also be added on to it. For example, a satellite may fall from the sky, in which you now have to go and defend. And of course, all these are necessary because in the end there is actually a loot system, and especially if you're trying to get that 6th chest, you try to want to get as many points as possible, along with double experience that you tend to get quite a bit. But basically how it works is that when you start off a match, you basically set off on a journey to go and gather resources. But do keep in mind that if your main objective is of course destroying enemy cabinets, then you might want to stick together as a group to kind of take on these activities, because the more you progress into that, the challenging the enemies tend to become, especially in later levels. But again, you start off the game by going off and gathering resources. Your resources will consist between nuts and bolts to make bullets, of course, for your weapons. Of course, you have buildable materials such as wood, stone, and metal, which is definitely very important. Of course, once you gather up all the necessary resources, you go ahead and head to the main objective, and from there, that's where the base building aspect will take place. What's nice about it is that it's very simplistic. For me, I've been mostly playing this on the PC side with a little bit of PS4 as well, and no matter what version you went with, it was actually pretty well. I find it best on the PC because you're able to kind of navigate through that the whole build setup easily with the whole mouse and keyboard. But from there you can go ahead and build walls. Again, you have your 3 different resources: wood, stone, and of course metal. And of course, even after you build it, you can upgrade to kind of increase its defense even more. And of course, best of all, you could also build a variety of different type of traps. And of course, again, this is where the creation is up to you, especially if you're working as a team. If you want to kind of make a system where you're funneling the enemies into a certain destination, you can do that. If you just don't want to build any defenses or make light defenses, you also have that as an option, which the way I see it early on in the game, you don't really have to make a strong defense. Maybe if you don't have like the proper weapons at the time, maybe something light for base building. But definitely when you progress further on and unlock additional maps where you have to be like a rank 15 on up, that's when things are going to become really crazy and you're going to have to kind of get creative with your base building. But again, all that aspect is actually a lot of fun. The other cool thing too is that when you're not in the main map, you're also able to gather survivors, and what you're able to put in these little groups, because you're basically the commander, so you're like the leader of this elite team, if you will. And of course, from there, you can put people in specific roles, something that could aid you if you don't have anyone to help you along the way. And of course, you're also able to find weapon loot and all that, and of course build a variety of different types. These can be anywhere between common, uncommon, or even legendary status, in which you're also able to level those up. Same for your hero. I mean, you kind of start off with the basic hero, but the more you progress in terms of loot, you're able to obtain more variety of different heroes, anywhere from ninjas to scouts, and of course all of which have their own unique abilities and perks, which is definitely good because for me, I've been using like the Scout Sniper, which is really good because they have a skill set called Keen Eye, so it allows me to kind of spot all the rare chests within a certain area. It's definitely useful perks like that. And of course, the other thing too is that you have like this super massive skill tree that you're able to progress along the way for all your different characters, which tend to share the same skill tree, so you don't have to kind of pick and choose what you're trying to do. And of course, you're also able to level up your hero, or in this case, evolve as it's called. But there's so much in the gameplay element that's really hard to condense in a solid review. But again, there's just a lot to do for gameplay, which definitely builds into its replay value. And speaking of replay value, this is where I pretty much want to kind of conclude everything else. And again, I've been putting who knows how many hours into it. Like, I'll start up the game, next thing you know, I lose track of time, it's 8 hours later, and it's like I still have things to do, stuff to level up and progress. It's just kind of an endless amount of activities. Now, rather than giving this a score out of 10, since this is currently in early access and there's going to be new additional content and improvements along the way, I'm just going to give you an indication if I would recommend this or not. If you really wanted to check out this game, is it worth paying for the early access? In my opinion, yes, especially if you're looking for something to play and kind of invest some time into, and if you enjoy co-op style games. If you are someone who's a little bit short on cash and not too sure if you will be interested in this game, again, do keep in mind that this will become a free-to-play title sometime in 2018. Not entirely sure when, but it is coming. But if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.